What's up, everyone? I am Josh. This is Wrestling Reverb. I am currently on the injured list in a wrestling way. No, I've hurt myself at my other job that I do that isn't this podcast, obviously. So I thought with this spare time I have sitting around in my house because I can't really lift a lot, I've hurt my shoulder. I thought maybe I should sit down and do a podcast because I've haven't done one in nearly 2 weeks, and there is a reason behind that. Everyone that follows me knows that I've been working on my Twitch and my YouTube and the launch of that, so I've kind of had I've been a little bit preoccupied, but it's fine. I knew that it was going to be a couple of weeks, to get back everything normal and everything on a set timeline again. But never fear, the podcast is back. And another reason that I kind of haven't done the podcast is, as you know, I didn't really want to cover Crown Jewel. I ended up covering it in my first YouTube video, but it was for different reasons. But I didn't want to give a podcast episode to it, especially because the show happened and it was just god awful. It was so bad. So, since Evolution, WWE's been in kind of, not a lull, I wouldn't say a lull, Raw's been in a lull, but Smackdown hasn't been. And I think they're on the fast-forward rush to Survivor Series, which we knew was going to happen because there was only a 2-week build to it, really, after Crown Jewel. So, they're in the rush to Survivor Series. Now, they have been on a booking express. Everything is about Survivor Series, as it should be. It's one of the big four. I like Survivor Series. I like the aspect of Survivor Series. I like SmackDown versus Raw. There's actually some matches that I'm genuinely looking forward to this year, which is really, really fun. Obviously, you got AJ Styles and Brock, and if it's anything like last year's, that was one of the matches of the year last year. It was so good. That was easily Brock's best match, maybe since his comeback. I honestly think it is. And it's one of AJ's better matches as well. It just goes to show that Brock can go the distance if he's in there with someone that can make him go the distance. For example, an AJ Styles. So that should be fun, and I'm kind of, pulling... I'm Team Blue. I bleed blue. So I am genuinely going for SmackDown regardless of anything over Raw. So I'm very much blue. I'm going to be in my blue. I'm going to be supporting blue. Team Blue. I know Survivor Series is still, a week away, so we still got a little bit of time. But, when you look at just looking at the champion-on-champion matches, you got AJ Brock. So AJ is the one I'm pulling for here. Will AJ win? Who knows? Because... AJ's been a champion, the WWE champion for just over a full year now. He's the 9th longest reigning WWE champion of all time. He's, coming up, especially in the modern era, he's a very long time champion. But then you have Brock Lesnar, who doesn't really lose very often. He's very protected when it comes to finishes of matches. And genuinely his matches are him beating the crap out of his opponent. AJ kind of took him to that back and forth. There was a little bit of, just the standard suplexes and stuff like that, but AJ took him to the limit last year. So, will AJ go over? Who knows? I'm hoping for it. I'm optimistic for it. You look at the other champion-on-champion matches, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth Rollins will be incredible. Something that we haven't really been able to see because, SmackDown and Raw, so they've always been separated, or NXT or whatever. And everything that's going on with Seth, with Dean, I could generally see Shinsuke going over in that match. And Shinsuke's title run has been underwhelming, I guess is the word. They haven't really had him on TV. He defends against random people. Shinsuke is so great, and he's been so great since turning on AJ. This Nakamura stuff is so fun, and it just has so much more potential than what we're seeing, I think. But sometimes title reigns happen like that, and, we can't have everything we want. Obviously, we want Shinsuke on, for the most part, people like Shinsuke. But him and Rollins will kill it at Survivor Series. You got the tag team champions, SmackDown, The Bar, AOP on Raw. AOP just won it from Seth, and Dean technically. I don't know that. Everyone knows my stance on tag team wrestling. I don't hate it, but I'm certainly not the biggest fan of tag wrestling. I just think it's just in a bubble a little bit. Will that match be fun? Maybe. It'll be hard-hitting. It'll be very physical. I don't really see AOP losing, but I kind of don't see the Bar losing, so it's weird. Obviously, still pulling for Team SmackDown. I don't really love the Bar, but I'm going for SmackDown. The other champion versus champion match is Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions, respectively. Now, this match has the appeal of me. This match has the appeal of... I believe it is the most hyped match for Survivor Series. Everyone knows the tangent that Becky's been on. She has been on an absolute roll. She has more momentum than anybody. She's the talk of the industry, it seems. She is kind of untouchable at the moment. Her in-ring work has always been great. We don't have to talk about that. But her promo work is something that has stepped up. She's nearly untouchable on the microphone. Definitely over Ronda. Ronda is getting better on the microphone, but she's certainly not experienced. Becky Lynch, though, has been cutting some of the best promos, certainly of her career, but maybe in the company right now. Becky is... When people rant and rave about Becky Lynch a lot, and sometimes, especially on the internet, if people get hot and people get invested in someone, it's like they can do nothing wrong. But Becky can literally do nothing wrong at the moment. Everything she does, everybody eats up. Now, what I'm kind of my take on this is, what I'm kind of concerned about is that Becky is so hot, Becky is so over, Becky is so loved, that Survivor Series might be a little rough for Ronda. Because as much as I bleed blue, as hot as Becky is, as much as I love Becky and how much I want her to win, I just think Ronda's not losing until WrestleMania. So Ronda is going to get the win over Becky, I believe, here. But the thing is that Becky's been killing it so much. You look at Becky Lynch on Twitter, and she's even untouchable on there. Anything anyone says, she owns. To the limit, she owns them. She just has an answer for everybody. Her and Seth Rollins have been in a little Twitter feud about who is the man, and Becky is claiming that, and Becky is kind of owning Seth at every corner. She's done the same to Ronda on Twitter. She's done the same to Ronda on the microphone. Everything Ronda says, Becky has something better to say. This week was interesting for Becky because we had the debut of Nikki Cross on Smackdown, which is fun. Nikki Cross does crazy better than I think anyone has done in a long time. She's very, very good at that. Her promos are fun. Her and Becky had a nice little match. Now, Nikki, I'm hoping this is the call-up for Nikki. And I think Sanity has been one that they obviously didn't have a plan for when they come up. And Sanity are so cool. Sanity have this cool edginess to them. But I think if anything was missing from Sanity, it was obviously Nikki Cross. So hopefully adding Nikki in there, they might get some time with Sanity and might get some... and just get some fire behind them and just give them that little bit of a push that they need. Now, anyway, back to Becky Lynch. Like I said, she's kind of untouchable. Now, the thing I worry about is that it might be bad for Ronda is, what is that crowd going to do in LA at Survivor Series? I just don't know if... Now, I don't think Ronda Rousey will get heavily booed or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying here, is that I think the split might be a little bit more in favor of Becky, especially at a Big Four in LA. Tends to be a little bit more smarky, air quote was used there, smarky crowd in LA. So I just think that we might be a little bit more pro Becky than pro Ronda. So I honestly think this match should be the headline of the show. I think it should be the main event. There's nothing that's really close to it in terms of appeal and interest right now. This is the talk of Survivor Series. I just think that Ronda and Becky have just they're at very good points. I know a lot of people say it should be Becky and Ronda at WrestleMania, or it shouldn't be this, or it should be that, or I think they're at very good points to do this now. Becky is at the highest point. Ronda's at a very high point. Is this her highest? Maybe. But Becky's certainly at a very high point, and this is where they need to meet. It's just perfect timing, and I just think in terms of crowd appeal, that match is where the crowd is going to peak for. I think they have the ability to steal the show. We all know Becky is great in the ring, and obviously since her work at Evolution and stuff like that with Charlotte, and all of her work with Charlotte, she's very capable in the ring, which we already knew. Nothing surprising, but I think what we're kind of comfortable with saying is that Ronda Rousey is very capable in the ring, and when these two styles mesh, I just think it's going to be magic. I really do. Like I said, I bleed blue. I'm pulling for Becky Lynch, and I'm hoping and praying that she wins. I just think it's more Ronda on this stage. But, you know, in a week or so, I'm going to do a Survivor Series prediction show. Maybe this week of television will change it up. Who knows? Speaking of this week's TV, I'll just quickly add. So, the Riott Squad and Sasha Bailey, Nattie, had a rematch on Raw. And it was whatever, not the match that I'm going to talk about. It's the ending of the match that I want to talk about. So, Natalya wore her dad's glasses to the ring. I'm not really sure of the reasoning behind it. I guess it was just, there was no real anniversary or his birthday or something like that. It was just something nice to do. Whatever. That's not what I'm complaining about. Okay. So, Ruby grabs Nattie's dad's glasses, as Nattie had Sarah Logan in the sharpshooter, and she breaks the glasses in half. Now Nattie starts crying and whatever, and is obviously upset that her dad's glasses, whatever it may be. Now this is not what I have the issue with. Ruby and the Riott Squad, they need to do more stuff like this. Be a little bit more of a, excuse my pun, but they need to create more of a riot. Now the problem I have with this is, why the fuck did the match end? Why was that a match ending? Why? Why did the match end? WWE do things like this where they just have these awkward little finishes that kind of just take away from the whole thing. It's like, for me, I don't know how everyone else is, but for me personally, is that segment could have been the coolest segment in the world. That match could have been the coolest match in the world. What the Riots did could have been the coolest thing in the world. Because the match just ended and they just walked off and nothing really come of it, it was just kind of like, that's all I can focus about is why would you do that? Why wouldn't you have break the glasses and Nattie lose her crap and get DQ'd, or a roll up, or Nattie gets counted out or something, because they just walked off and that was the end of the match, and now that's all I can focus on, and that's all I can kind of keep my attention on. It might be just a me thing because I'm a bit nitpicky when it comes to wrestling, but for God's sake, why end it like that? Anyway, back to Survivor Series. So then there's obviously the traditional men's, women's, and there's a tag team Survivor Series match as well. Now the tag one, I don't know if it's 5-on-5 or if it's 5 teams on 5 teams. I think they did that a couple of years ago. But Usos are the captains of the tag team one. They picked the New Day. That would make 5, I would assume. So maybe they're just doing that. Who knows? But there might be teams. I hope it would be more teams, so then it kind of makes sense. But then Raw, their tag division stinks. It's just bad. So, I bleed blue all the way on that one. The women's team on Smackdown consists of Sonya Deville, Naomi, Carmella, Charlotte Flair, and why have I blanked on the last one? Oh no. Charlotte, Naomi, Carmella, Sonya Deville, and someone else. Oh no, I've blanked. Let me get my phone here and let me look this up, because it's going to bother me that I don't know. Let's see. Why have I blanked so much on the women's Smackdown Survivor Series team? I know Mandy come out and like got angry and shit because she wanted to be on the team and she didn't put Sonya Deville on the team. I'm going through WWE's Twitter. Let's see. Why have I blanked on the SmackDown Women's division? It's probably someone I really like, too, which is really unfortunate. Oh, no. WWE put up a lot of stuff on it. Oh, hello. How could I forget about Asuka? Wow. You just witnessed that on this podcast. I just completely forgot about Asuka, which is kind of fitting considering all the stuff that she's kind of been through since WrestleMania. It's definitely a drop of what she was, but anything's fixable and stuff like that. Asuka's great. My apologies on that one. But yeah, so Asuka, Naomi, Charlotte, Carmella, and Sonya Deville. Mandy Rose comes out and blah, blah, blah. Charlotte didn't end up coming out. I don't know, did Mandy Rose kick her in the face or some crap? I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, obviously I think next week we're going to have a match between Sonya and Mandy. Winner is on the team. I think Mandy will go over, and I think it'll be Mandy Rose on the team, which is fine. Everyone knows how much I like Mandy Rose. I think she's a star. She gets it done in the ring. She's getting better at talking. She obviously has a look. But yeah, so that's the SmackDown women's team. Strong team. Raw, Alexa Bliss is the team captain. She's not wrestling. She's obviously still hurt. Since all her concussion-based stuff. But that's fine, because it kind of works better for Bliss to be in this kind of role as a heel at the moment. So she'll pick 5. Who will be on it? I mean, Sasha Banks will wheeze her way on it. Mickie James will probably end up on it because of her association with Bliss. Bayley will probably end up on it as well. Nia Jax will probably end up on it. And I would assume the 5th spot would either go to a Riott Squad member, Tamina, or Natalya. Strong teams on both. Raw women's teams have won both times the last 2 years. So, will SmackDown women get a win? Who knows? I would hope so. But, you know, with a team that potentially has like a Sasha Banks on it, a Bayley, a Nia Jax, especially with Nia being the number 1 contender, I don't know. But then that team has Charlotte, Asuka, Naomi. You know, they're both very even teams. I think the SmackDown and Raw divisions are somewhat even in a lot of ways. So, I don't know. Like I said, bleed blue all the way. The men's teams. Now, Raw only has Dolph, Drew, and I think that's it at the moment. Dolph and Drew. And Braun. So Dolph, Drew, and Braun. They've still got 2 teams to pick. I think Corbin is the manager of that team or the captain or some crap. But he can't. I don't know. Something like that. Kurt tried to get in it. Lost to Drew. Great match, by the way, on Raw. It was the only thing about Raw this week that I really enjoyed. Raw was a bit rough this week. Anyway. So, and then SmackDown. Now, I'm going to say it again. I'm Team Blue. I bleed blue. I love blue. I love SmackDown. SmackDown Live all the way. However, Daniel Bryan and Miz are co-captains. That's fun. They're kind of like, you know, getting along, not getting along, that kind of stuff. Samoa Joe, completely fine. He's great. Badass. Taking it home for blue. Rey Mysterio. Hello, it's Rey Mysterio. No explanation needed. Now, here is my issue that lies with a certain Shane McMahon. I don't know what it is, but Shane McMahon always has to find a way to get on Survivor Series teams, for one, and just weasel his way in, a la Best in the World, at the WWE Crown Jewel event. I know he explained that he's not the best in the world, but he still won that. He still won that cup, which is bogus. But why do we have to waste a spot that could be for it could have been for Jeff Hardy. It could have been for Andrade Cien Almas. It could have been for Rusev. It could have been for anybody. But Shane McMahon just has to be in it. I don't hate Shane McMahon. I don't think I'll ever hate Shane McMahon. But Shane McMahon, I like him on TV. I like him as the commissioner. And stuff like that. It's not that I have a problem with. It's him just being always in matches and stuff like that. It makes the appeal of Shane McMahon wrestling go away. And, like, this is a spot, I understand, like, yes, he's more blue than anybody else because he is the commissioner. But why does he always have to wrestle in these matches? Every year he's wrestled in the Survivor Series matches since the brand split. I just don't think it's necessary. Why wouldn't you put someone else in there and give them another chance? Give them a chance to kind of shine in those matches because, you know, why I think Ronda and Becky should. This match will genuinely probably go on last. Why don't you give someone else an opportunity? It's just, I don't know. It's just my opinion. I'm just a bit done with him wrestling all the time. I like him wrestling sometimes, but not in these kind of situations, you know. When there's a story, I like Shane McMahon wrestling. I don't like him wrestling for the hell of it in Survivor Series matches. Just my opinion. But that's where I lie. I still bleed blue. Still going for Team Blue. So, Smackdown all the way. But that's all I'm going to kind of talk about today because I'm still in a world of pain from my shoulder and I can't sit in this spot for too long because it's starting to really hurt, which is real fun. But anyway, thought I'd get this done, take my mind off of some things for a little while. Yeah, that's about all I'm going to talk about though. I'll be back next week for a little Survivor Series prediction stuff because this is just more so who I want to win, who will win, and I don't know the whole teams yet. So next week we'll talk about some Survivor Series in depth, and yeah, this will be fun. Keep an eye on my YouTube as well and my Twitch because I'm sure to have more videos and streams and whatever it may be on there. That's really starting to take off for me a little bit, which is fun. And it's a little bit different than just sitting in, you know, sitting and just talking into a microphone about... I can be a little bit more open and fun on a video than... And I like the dynamic of difference between the podcast and a video. A podcast, I can get a little bit more serious. I can talk a little bit more in-depth of something and stick to a certain thing, while a video kind of needs to appeal to more of the masses, and I can be a little bit more of my idiotic self on a video. Yeah, which is what I like. And Twitch is fun too. I'm still getting used to that a lot. So anyone who has tuned in to my Twitch streams or watched them on YouTube, I apologize for all the technical difficulties I'm having. I'm still learning. I'm learning on the fly. But yeah. And here's a question for all of you. You can DM me or tweet at me or whatever, comment, Facebook, whatever you want to do. Do you want to see my podcast filmed? Because a lot of people have kind of mentioned that to me. Is that something I should start doing? Should I start sitting down when I record my podcast and film them and put them on YouTube as well? I can start doing that. But we'll see what happens. But if there's enough interest there, I'll definitely do it. But yeah. Okay, I'm signing off for this time. I'm going to go put some heat on my shoulder and be really boring. So, peace out, everyone. Bye.